Cheers, mate. Alright. Welcome to another episode of Brewers 25 and 25. This is the season recap edition, mainly focusing on the catching position in 2014. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this fancy pants mirror, and what I'm going to do is, since I record mostly by myself, and right now I'm just kind of freaking out, Major Corbin Dallas, he's watching the reflections, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is actually being recorded at the moment. So I'm going to take this fancy mirror here, I'm going to slip it right behind the the camera right here, and I can see, hey, look at that. I can see myself in the frame, and I'm going to go ahead and set this up in some crazy fashion so I can see myself in the view screen of the camera, looking at me, looking at you, and it's kind of freaking me out, but that's okay. Hey, so besides that point, here we are to talk about Jonathan Lucroy and Martin Maldonado, who were your catching duo in 2014. Now you can take a look at their numbers, and you kind of see, how many home runs they put up, how many RBIs, doubles, their batting average. You can look at their defense, and you can see their, their number of base runners they threw out. You can see their, ERAs of the pitching staff that they helped work. You can look at any other defensive statistics, any errors, passed balls, wild pitches, what have you. And numbers are great. I'm not going to discount that, because stats are there for a reason. They really kind of help you to quantify their performance and, compare it to other people in the league. But I'm going to tell you, when it comes to catching, stats really don't do that good of a job with determining how good the Milwaukee Brewers catchers were in 2014. We all know how good Jonathan Lucroy was. I mean, he was probably team MVP. He batted like 280. He didn't hit a whole lot of home runs, but where he lacked in home runs, he made up in doubles. And he ended up hitting like 53-some doubles or something, which led the league and was the second highest doubles total in Brewers franchise history. And so he was driving in runs on doubles instead of home runs, which is just fine with me. A home run's cool and everything. It gives you an extra run because, the batter who hit the home run also clears the bases, I guess, and he counts as one as well. But man, doubles, just where just what you needed at that time. And so he was team MVP. And not only that, but he really stepped into the field, into the fold of the missing marketing guy. And, where Braun was the face of the franchise before, Lucroy just kind of stepped up and just kind of they put it all on Lucroy. They said, hey, Braun, he's suspended and everything like that, and people are booing him, people are giving him a hard time about everything, and they're just like, look, I wasn't privy to this conversation, but I'm sure it went something along the lines of, look, Jonathan, is it okay if I call you Jonathan? I know the fans call you Luke, but is it okay if I call you Jonathan? He's like, oh yeah, just John. And he's like, John? No, we're going to call you Jonathan. That's okay. So then they say, look, Jonathan, right? you're going to be the new face of the franchise. You're like an everyday kind of dude. You're a hard worker, blue-collar guy that people can kind of get behind. Just like, you know what, I like this guy. There's nothing controversial about him. There's nothing entirely special about him. But we can identify with him because it's like, you know, I'll tell you, I'll be the first to admit, there's nothing controversial about me and there's nothing special about me. But I'm an altogether good guy. You know, maybe the ladies don't think that way. We're still trying to work on that, but I mean, I'm an altogether good guy, and like I'll be all right. Same thing with Jonathan Lucroy. Like he's just a guy you can kind of get behind, and just be like, hey, you know, like let me ride this pony till it gets turned into glue. And that's what we did basically. We kind of like will ride and die with Jonathan Lucroy, and what he did as a catcher, helping the pitching staff to near championship levels of ERA and innings pitched and all that kind of stuff. And then when he is able to contribute offensively, because like look, when it comes to a catcher, all you really want is, you know, their defensive statistics, how well they handle the pitching staff, you know, how well do they block balls, like on the, to avoid wild pitches and the like. And so defense is all you really want out of catcher. And so you say, like, all right, whatever we get offensively is fine. So you go, you know, maybe 230, 250, whatever. You got like 280 out of Luke. Not only that, but you got power numbers and you got RBIs as well. Maldonado wasn't so lucky. He batted like, you know, 212 or something like that. But how many games did Maldonado really play? Like 20 games the whole year? Lucroy was just like, if he wasn't in there catching, he was in there playing first base. He played in like nearly every game. And so how can you expect Maldonado to kind of, you know, go ahead and put up, you know, great numbers while like never seeing like an at-bat really? I mean, he'd go like, you know, 4 or 5 games without even stepping up to the plate and taking a swing. So Maldonado, by those accounts, did just fine. And so you had like a nice 1-2 punch. Fuck, I'm sorry, it's like 1:30 in the morning. But you had like a nice 1-2 punch of guys that like were going to get the job done. And there was never any worry that they weren't going to call a good game. There was never any... sometimes catchers are deemed like automatic outs or something. Like you never really thought that with him. Lucroy, I think when Ramirez was injured, Lucroy was batting 4th. When Braun was injured, Lucroy was batting 3rd. When they were both in the lineup, Lucroy was batting 5th. So he's batting like the prime spots of the lineup. And most catchers are going to be batting like 7th, 8th, you know, something like that. Towards the bottom of the order, it's just like, you know, just clear the spot for the pitcher or whatever. That's not Lucroy. Like, he's not going to be in there just to waste an at-bat to try to, like, you know, advance a runner or something like that. No, he's there to drive runners in, to produce runs, to be effective. So, long story short, I guess, like, you know, Jonathan Lucroy on the field, incredible. Jonathan Lucroy off the field was incredible as well. He's like your new guy to kind of get behind. If you don't already have like one of these guys, and hopefully you can see it all right, but that's a number 20 Jonathan Lucroy. So basically, if you don't already have a number 20 Jonathan Lucroy jersey, now's the time to go out and get one. I mean, he made the All-Star team last year. He'll probably make many more to come. He's your guy to get behind. And it's like, I already know, like, I've already heard some of the fans already just screaming from the rafters, like, Luke! You know, like, it's caught on. It really has. So, 2013, 2014, 2013, where am I? I'm in my living room. When I recorded the original video, I believe I was down at the athletics stadium down in Florida, but hey, I'm home now. I've been home. But 2014 was very kind to our catchers, and Lucroy stepped up in the biggest way. Luckily, he's under contract for the next couple years because I'm telling you, with the numbers he's putting up right now and the numbers he's going to put up in the next couple of years, it is an absolute, like Carlos Gomez, like what we're paying him versus what he'd get on the open market, absolute steal. So Jonathan Lucroy is invaluable. Like, I wouldn't even want to try and put a price tag on him because he's worth more than anything I could ever afford. Both as a person, as a sexual partner, as a, like, what is it when you're gambling or something and you have, like, an accomplice across the table who's, like, helping you out, whatever. Like, he's just, like, winning or losing based upon what you're doing. You're playing together and then you split the pot at the end. Just like that. Or as a baseball player, as a catcher, whatever. He's basically everything that you've ever wanted, everything you've ever needed, and then some. It's ridiculous. Like, it's not even fair. So, that's a catching position recap for 2014. Jonathan Lucroy was amazing. Unbelievably amazing, and anything else that you can go, outstanding, larger than life, I don't care. You can make up things as far as the eye can see, but you'll never be able to describe or completely fully explain like how valuable Lucroy was to this team and how incredibly lucky we are to have a player of his caliber. And, like I said, don't discount the mighty Martin Maldonado because he's a perfect backup. It's just like he's there when you need him. And when you have a catcher as good as Lucroy, you don't need the greatest of backups, but you have a guy that in a pinch, say Lucroy's got to sit out a couple games for, just an injury, or he goes on the disabled list for 14 days, 15 days, whatever like that. Martin Maldonado could step in and you really don't miss a beat. Like, he knows the pitching staff. He's a better defensive catcher. He's got one hell of an arm. He's been pitched in this year. But he's a great defensive catcher, and it's like, given the opportunity and regular playing time, he can hit a couple of home runs, and he can, hit off for a high average. So it's like you don't really miss a beat with Maldonado. So we're lucky. Think how many teams like run through catchers, year for year, and even the Brewers at one point, where every year you had like a different catcher. But having Lucroy the last couple of years and having Maldonado as his backup gives the pitchers, both in the bullpen and as the starters, like some familiarity to work with. And you have to just, if you look at some guy like Willie Peralta, how much better he's gotten because of that stability behind the plate. So I've already gone on long too much about the catching position. And that's the 2014 Brewers catching recap. And take care of yourselves, and good night. And next time you're at the ballpark, do whatever you want to let me tell you what to do. But if you get a quick second, when Lucroy's up to bat or when he, does something great, just shout out, Luke! And when the Mighty Martin's up, you can do like I do and go, the Mighty Martin! I'm still trying to hope for that one to catch on as much as the Luke one, but hey, shit happens. And things don't always go as I planned. It's the story of my life. Alright, later, friends. Bye.